This is definitely one of the ceilings in the world of hide and seek. In order to evade the search of Special Forces instructors, the 6th generation actually perfectly combined Tu Dun and Mu Dun tree, integrating oneself with nature. And the instructors also have a lot of experience in overseas combat. Let's wait and see whether it's the magic 1 foot high or the road 1 Zhan high. The 3 of them are going to hide to the extreme in this farmhouse estate. The player who persists until the end will receive a reward of $30,000. The first player, Run 2, took an unusual path as soon as he arrived. He planned to disguise himself as a tree man. In order to achieve a 100% perfect effect, he used a cutting machine to cut open the bark at the bottom of the tree stump. This is a good material for disguise. Subsequently, without affecting the growth of large trees, cleaned the bottom part of the bark thoroughly. Then he lay down in the dug pit and prepared to bury himself. But before that, the special effects makeup artist must cover his face with the bark that was just cut off. With the skillful operation of a makeup artist, a cool wooden mask was quickly created. Subsequently, the assistant covered him with soil. Be sure to place a coffin board first in this step. Otherwise, he would really be buried in peace. Finally, just send him a few more grave grasses. Let's take a look at this effect. It's explosive. The second player is the elusive Little White. He has already customized a super cool garbage cloak for himself in advance using various garbage. I plan to hide in the stinky garbage can and also come with a matching garbage cap. But after hiding inside, he regretted it. A sealed environment combined with a thick garbage cloak. Not only was the smell suffocating, but it almost made him faint from the heat. The third player, Little Mago, who loves to let go of himself, dreams of his dreams. Just being able to ride his beloved foal and wander the world. But this time he only plans to lie motionless on the horse's back and pretend to be dead. I saw him wearing a heavy saddle and stepping onto the horse's back, then just lying down. Just don't expose your horse's feet in the saddle. Fortunately, he has a deep affection for the foal, otherwise he might have been kicked away by the horse halfway. 3 players have already gone into hiding, and 2 Special Forces soldiers have arrived on time by car. Compared to the flashy equipment last time, they chose to go into battle lightly this time. Carrying only 2 walkie-talkies seems to give me a lot of confidence in my abilities. The search time is 1 hour. They plan to conduct a preliminary investigation of each building one by one first. Firstly, we arrived at a large garage where many vehicles were parked. They must conduct a thorough inspection of each vehicle to prevent errors and omissions. Due to the different models, it is quite difficult to troubleshoot. The 2 of them were busy jumping up and down for 7 or 8 minutes, but found nothing. The 2 people who came outside walked straight towards the garbage bin at the door. At this moment, the Little White inside was covered in sweat, as if in a sauna. But upon hearing the commotion, he still prayed that the hunter would not come over. The hunter walked over and routinely rummaged through the trash can, but didn't seem to find any abnormalities. He immediately covered it up, but within 2 steps, he killed a boomerang. So he had already become suspicious, just wanting to play with Xiao Bai's hands. A casual flip through Little White reveals no escape. But Xiao Bai, who was so hot that her face turned red, was finally relieved. Unfortunately, she had to say goodbye to $30,000. I didn't expect him, with his hands tied, to still try to resist stubbornly. But it's not a match for Special Forces hunters at all. In just a few seconds, he was thrown down again and recognized the situation, so he could only obediently surrender and be captured. Subsequently, Uncle Hu continued to inspect the remaining buildings, rummaging through boxes and cabinets. Not letting go of any possible Tibetan corner. Being busy all the time is nothing to gain. It seems that they underestimated the contestants of this issue too much. They can come up with any idea to get the bonus. The indoor search has been completed, and the next step is the more difficult wilderness area. After discussing the plan, the 2 of them went their separate ways. Uncle Hu turned around and... I didn't expect the photographer to enter the dense jungle at this moment. I stopped eating due to leg cramps. On the other side, Little Beard came to the racecourse and saw the horse being led. He suddenly had a mind-blowing idea. Isn't there any Lao Lu who disguises himself as a horse? Upon closer inspection, I realized how this horse had a towering hump. So he went straight up and lifted the entire hump to the ground. Poor little pony was thrown off and became the second prey to be captured. Half of the search time has passed, and Uncle Hu, who has been walking in the jungle for half a day, happened to pass by Run 2. Since there was no direct confrontation, he didn't even suspect it. He guessed that the prey might be as far away as possible without any harvest. And Little Beard remembered the analysis of Runta's loot operation hiding in the soil last time. It's very likely that he will repeat the same trick, but this time he's disguised as a stone. Or a tree can only wait for verification. But it's not easy to conduct a carpet-like inspection on this estate with a large area. Now there are only 20 minutes left. He must search as many areas as possible. But I didn't expect him to miss out perfectly with Run 2 on the roadside in the next second. Who would have thought that Lao Lu could transform into a tree man? If you don't approach and carefully examine it, you won't be able to find it at all. Little Beard continued to burrow into the jungle. He must carefully observe every blade of grass, every tree, and even every stone that comes into view. Due to the lush vegetation in some areas, it can be imagined that the search difficulty is quite high. And Uncle Hu on the other side also looked bewildered. He cannot determine whether the prey is indoors or outdoors. After considering 2 seconds, he still decided to continue searching outdoors. Before long, both of them walked to the roadside and met each other in this area. Constantly walking to investigate the nearby Run 2, the atmosphere was so scared that it dared not breathe. After searching for half a day without finding any clues, the 2 of them almost shook their judgment. At this moment, Little Beard slowly approached the tree and seemed to have noticed some unusual traces. So I quickly turned around and came to the roadside. With sharp eyes, he immediately noticed the Run 2 embedded in the tree and lifted the wooden board. I thought this incredible way of hiding could last until the end, but I didn't expect it. He easily cracked it like this. The field reconnaissance capabilities of Special Forces soldiers should not be underestimated. Congratulations to the hunter for winning the hide and seek challenge and receiving a $30,000 reward.